Ladies and gentlemen, you are now tuned into the hottest podcast on the internet. All raw opinions. Come on. Norma, I see you. Rollo. All raw opinions.
Welcome to Our Raw Opinions, Episode 7. Today, we have a special guest. A very special guest.
Yes.
Welcome, Detective Gil Carrillo.
Yes.
Well, thank you. I'm waiting to find out who this special guest is. I'm just Gil. There ain't nothing special about me.
And we can't forget his good friend,
Yes,
my
his
dad.
compadre and his compadre.
Yeah.
I'm his compadre.
Yes.
I asked specifically, and thank you for honoring my request. He was here. We've been spending some time together. This gentleman, we've known each other since teens.
Wow.
There is nobody that I've gotten in more trouble with than this man right here.
Really? Do tell.
I love him to death. He baptized my daughter.
I love
We're
you
spending
too,
time
compa.
together.
Wow.
And I'm just honored to be able to be spending time with him on your show.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you
let's
so
So,
go ahead and
hey.
take a shot.
My compa Raw.
I got it.
God bless you.
God bless you guys.
I love you. Thank you for the invitation to be down here.
Thank you for
Thank
being
you so
here.
much.
Salute.
Thank you.
Salute.
Salute.
Salute. They always give the guy who can't handle tequila the biggest tequila. I don't understand why.
Suck it up. You can do it.
So, really quick, for the viewers to know, this is my pops right here,
Yes.
And, growing up, I've always looked at you like an uncle because you guys were such good friends.
He is your deal.
You know him all your life.
My whole life.
You have.
You
Yes,
told
you
me
have.
I was born and he was there. Or something.
Yeah.
That's right.
His mom was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. He was telling me that your mom was there.
My
so when I
mom
was
worked
born.
at the hospital at
What?
the time.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm learning all this stuff today too. But I'll
Yeah.
tell you this. So
My mom told me he was a sissy since the day he was born.
I grew out of that.
Yeah, he did. We still push him around here and there, but he grew out of it.
But just for our viewers to know, you
Yes.
have Gil Carrillo on. He is known for a lot of good things in the detective community.
Yes.
He's solved a lot of cases,
Yes,
and
he's a chingon.
he is. And
is.
I
Wow.
learned about, again, I grew up with him and not knowing at the time,
How big he was.
how of a big deal
Yes.
he is.
No shit, I'm
My-
a big man. Look at me.
And so to our viewers, if you guys seen the Netflix documentary, The Night
yes,
Stalker.
the Night Stalker, yes.
Gil Carrillo was on the Night Stalker case, and
Yes.
you are actually in Mission Viejo. We talked about earlier,
South County.
Yes.
South County, where in the documentary you mentioned, or the guy lived around Mission Viejo who wrote down the license plate. Is that correct?
That's very correct, and I apologize to the young man. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. We came out here the day after the incident. They were still processing the crime scene, but he was in his garage working on a brand new bike that he just got and saw somebody that drove by that looked a little suspicious. He took note of him. The driver stared at him, and he went on. Well, later on that night, the driver came by once again, nice and slow. This time, the little boy wrote down his license plate number.
Wow.
And then the news hit that morning that somebody had been sexually assaulted and shot.
Wow.
There were 2 victims, and he came forward with the information. That vehicle was ultimately found. It was a stolen vehicle. It was stolen out of the Chinatown area, downtown Los Angeles. That vehicle was ultimately found, was processed, and we found a fingerprint.
Wow.
Not us, Orange County Sheriff's
Orange
Department found a fingerprint after they processed it, and that fingerprint was ultimately identified to that of Richard Ramirez.
Well, see, really quick, sorry to interrupt you, but the thing what's crazy, because in South Orange County, a lot of stuff doesn't happen out here,
Yeah.
And for that to happen out here in Mission Viejo, where we're doing this podcast right
Yes.
now, it was... People were shitting bricks out here,
Yeah, they
I
were
was a
scared.
kid, though,
They were
but
scared, very
I
scared.
remember,
yeah, they
and
were
really
scared.
quick too, I remember a phone call that you had with my dad at the time, and we were living out here, and I remember vividly. It was a phone call, and I was just a kid. You picked up the phone, and you're like, "Hey, compa, what's up?" And I don't know what the conversation was, but I can imagine now it was like, "Hey, this motherfucker's out here
Better lock your
in your
shit."
area.
Okay.
Lock your shit up."
I don't know
Yeah.
if you
Now
remember.
the statute of limitations up, I can tell you, hey, Cobo, what are you doing later on? Let's go out and have a hit. Yeah, that's what it was.
That's probably what it was.
What was it that when he called you?
What happened is your mom was so scared.
Yeah.
She didn't want to open up the windows or
Right.
whatever. It was hot that day. It was hot. So I called him up and said, compa, or he called me or whatever. We got in touch. And I said, compa, you got to catch that sucker. Man, I can't take this heat no more.
Yeah.
I remember being like a little kid going, what the fuck? And then,
You probably had no idea what was really going on.
well, I mean, but it was weird. Then again, I didn't realize that Gil Carrillo is doing this.
Yeah.
Someone I see in my family all the time,
Yeah,
you know?
not to be. It takes a special person to be Gil.
Right.
A special
Yeah.
person.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you really
There's
quick.
Nobody.
Really quick, not to interrupt you, Pops, but
You always do.
you... Hey, that's what it is.
he got
but-
you good.
Going on that thought, though, about Gil, you guys met what? It was in...
We were.
You were youngsters.
We were on high school.
High school.
And you enrolled together in the Army.
No, he was in the army.
I was in the Army.
You were in the service.
Yes.
But you
Air
guys,
Force.
didn't you guys go around the same time?
He went before I did. I went. These guys had gone. These were guys that I looked up to. They were a couple of years older than I was, and I was 17 years old. And we just talked about. I was 17. There was a cop in the neighborhood.
Al the cop.
Al Arias was his name, and he took me home and he gave my parents. He said, "Hey, sign for him to get off the streets, or you'll end up dead or in prison."
And this is
Yeah.
the city of Pico Rivera.
City of Pico
Right.
Rivera.
Yeah,
So
he-
when you met Gil, was he always like, I want to be a cop. I want to do detective stuff. Or how was it?
Or was he
Well,
desmadroso?
He was special. I could see he had a calling.
He had a calling.
He had a calling. I mean, I saw it from the get go.
Wow.
Either was going to be some kind of a speaker or an artist or something.
Yeah.
At that time, you were working as a bus driver.
That's when I came. That's as soon as I came out
that's
of
right,
the
you came
Army.
back- yeah.
I envisioned myself more as a male stripper.
Oh, okay.
At the time, when I first went in.
I could have saw that.
Yeah.
Gil.
Throwing the tantarans everywhere?
Yeah, throwing my tantarans.
Showing him-
But they look like a churro every time I throw them out there. So I really, when I came out of the Army, I had 3 goals in life. One was I wanted to go to college.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go to
Honda, right?
college because nobody in my family, not cousins, sisters,
Right.
nobody had gone to college. And at that time I was naive and I thought only rich white people went to college.
Right.
Right.
So I wanted to go to college. I had matured from combat. You know,
I meant to kick your ass.
I wanted to do something. So I started Rio Hondo, the summer session,
Rio
as soon as I
Hondo,
got
yeah.
out. They only let me in because I was a Vietnam veteran.
Yeah.
When I looked at my transcripts, I was embarrassed. I knew I was mature because I thought, I obviously looked. I was embarrassed. I thought D stood for damn good. So I didn't know. F was fabulous. Something's going on. So that was number 1. I wanted to go to college.
Yeah.
Number 2, I wanted to become a cop. That
Yeah.
happened. And number 3, I wanted to start dating my former girlfriend that wrote me a Dear John when I was in Vietnam.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get her hooked back up with her, getting her eat out of the palm of my hand. And then
Did you marry her
break.
in 71?
No, I didn't.
When did you marry
No, I got out in June of 1970, and we got married December 26th, 1970.
Oh,
Christmas.
70, yeah.
6 months after, booyah, we're married.
Booyah. Yeah.
And we just celebrated our 52nd
But didn't you not
anniversary.
expect to marry her?
No,
You didn't expect to marry her?
no.
You were in the wedding too, right?
Yeah, I was in the
yes,
wedding. Yeah,
he
your mama
was.
was in the wedding. And
He was in the car with me the first time.
But little did you know
that's
she
another
was the love of
story.
your
that's
life.
another story.
Little did
And-
you know she was the love of your life.
I didn't know.
I did.
You did.
I did when we were going down the Whittier Boulevard to go party somewhere.
Yeah.
He just got home from overseas, and I had a couple of guys, and we came to a stop sign, to a stop, and here comes Pearl around the corner. He goes, "Let me out, man! Let me out! There's Pearl! There's Pearl! Let me out!" I go, "What?"
I can remember my wife used to, there was a nightclub in Santa Fe Springs, and I can't remember the name of it. I was only 20 years old when I got out of the service.
Wow.
I had a fake ID, and I asked you to go with me to the nightclub because I knew my wife was going to be there that night.
Wow.
Well, she wasn't my wife then. She
Yeah.
was just some.
Hey, hold on.
She was just some lucky.
Easy.
She was just some lucky lady that was out there.
I think you were lucky. I think you were lucky.
And so he was with me. He said, "Copa." I said, "Copa, I got to go. Let's go."
So
Fake ID and all, and we went. And
all you guys grew up together, like your wife
Yes.
and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
my mom. Rest in peace to my mother.
Rest
Yes.
in peace and
Yeah.
rest in peace.
all
No,
within
we
a
hung around with the kids,
few blocks
the back.
of each other.
All Pico Rivera.
So it was all good. It was a great time of life.
Yeah.
And
Very
we got
nice time.
married, and then I remember the parties down
my grandma's house.
your grandma's house.
That's a legend. Those are legends.
Yeah.
Man.
Those
parties
are-
were legends.
those-
You know, it's funny because
legendary
I
parties.
tell all the people about my grandma's parties when I growing up out here. I'm like, you guys don't understand my grandma's parties. Weren't they
Oh, no.
good?
They were the best.
Best parties.
They weren't. Nobody rowdy. There was no rowdy.
There was dancing.
And not only was your grandma, your great grandma was out
Yeah,
there
Conchita.
partying.
Hey, you
My
met
grandma.
great grandma too?
Oh,
Conchita, yeah.
He
Doña
was there before I was
Conchita.
born.
Doña Conchita.
Oh,
Wow,
yeah.
rest in peace, Doña
The
Conchita.
whole family, and I just
Yeah.
felt like part of the family.
Oh, yeah.
And I can tell you, if I have time, one quick story.
Go for it.
Say-
And that,
it.
that was a time I knew we lived right around the corner from each other on a cul-de-sac, and he lived on Paramount.
Yeah, Paramount.
And so I gave my wife some money. I knew we were going down there, so I gave my wife some money. I said, "Here, go buy you a dress. We're going out to dinner tonight with my mom and dad." And so sent her off, and my compa, his dad, and myself went out, and we started hitting it. And then we came back to the house, and we're back at his house, and now we're hitting it by ourselves.
Right.
And my wife calls me on the phone, and she says, "Hey, it's time to go. We got this dinner to go out with your mom and dad." And she's at my mom and dad's house. And his dad was the ultimate Mexican macho man.
Yes, he was. My
And he
grandfather.
said, he's telling me, "No te dejas. Don't leave. Don't leave yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
You're the man. You're the man.
You wear the
show
pants."
Show her who the boss is."
Right.
And his mother is saying, "Te van a pegar.
van a pegar.
They're gonna hit you."
Mama Tina was somebody. Yeah, she.
And then
That's her.
so then I told my wife, I said, "Hey, I'll be home when I get there. Don't bother me right
Oh,
now."
you got a little macho on her.
Oh yeah, I did, because his dad was pushing me. I'm gonna blame this one on his dad. So about 10 minutes later, she calls me. She says, "Gil, your mom and dad are waiting. What time are you gonna come home?" I said, "I told you, stop bothering me. I'll be there when I get there."
Damn.
Hey, that's it. And his dad is saying, "Eso es macho, eso es
That's the man.
And his mother said, "Te van a pegar,
Van a
Gil."
chingar.
And so about 10 minutes go by, and they said, "Uh-oh, here comes your wife. She's walking. I can see her walking through his front bay
Ooh,
window."
you in trouble.
And I said, "Psst, no le hace." And then about 10 yards behind her is my mom. I said, "Oh, it's time to go."
Time to go.
Acá viene tu mamá. Híjole, eso me puede.
And
Ya
so
estuvo todo.
that was it. My mom was behind her. Then she go kick my ass. Let's
Yeah.
go. So went home.
I'm sorry, honey.
Yeah. So that was all we've ever done is had fun.
Yeah.
I love him, his entire family to death.
Thank you, compadre. They
I
love you
got
too.
nothing without them. They're
Yeah.
a great family.
We
I
appreciate
think if
that.
you would have not gone to the service, you would not be where you're at, right?
Exactly.
Things happen.
I
Yeah,
owe
things-
everything to Al Arias.
That was during the Vietnam War, right?
Yeah.
So you
Yes,
guys
I-
got drafted pretty much, but I know your parents signed you
Yeah,
to go.
I
but-
Yeah.
didn't wait till the draft. I
You're
went
like,
in
"Fuck it, I'm
before.
out."
You
Let's
went
go.
in. Well,
And-
good for, thank God you did, because you know what? You wouldn't be where you at because you were in the neighborhood. You were
Yes.
like, I think we all. I mean, I grew up in the neighborhood. I don't know if you did, but I did.
And I don't wish to speak negative about anybody,
Yeah.
but Al Arias told my parents he'll end up dead or in prison.
Yeah.
And today, all those guys that went into the service had good lives,
Yeah.
respectful lives.
Right.
But GI
Those
Bill
that-
helped a lot, man.
Yeah.
Those that didn't ended up dead or in prison.
Yeah.
Right. How
Yep.
sad, huh?
Yeah, it is.
Sad.
That's very sad.
But I'm just grateful for what I have.
This
Right.
is why
Both
this
both
is why
with
your,
my compa and with my wife.
This is why your compa says you're special.
He is.
It takes someone
My dad-
special to do what you did.
I will
in
tell you
our-
this, Compa Gil, like an uncle to me, but my dad's always said so much good stuff about you. I don't think
Yeah.
there's ever been one bad thing that my dad has ever said about you. He's always
That's because it's a
That's
secret.
There's
because
so
he's
much
drunk.
love.
That's because you're dead drunk most of the time.
No, but you know what? You can tell just right now, just the feeling. There's so much love between you guys and so much respect for each
Yeah.
other.
Oh, yeah.
And I see that, and it's emotional for me just to see, because I can see your tears in your eyes, and I'm getting teary because you know what? You guys have been through so much, and I see it in your eyes. There's a lot of respect for each
Yeah.
other.
We've
a
been through
special
some
man.
good times
It's a
and
special.
bad times.
I think you guys are both
Special man.
special for each other.
yeah.
No me hagas llorar, because we're gonna take another shot.
I know, come on.
Cheers.
Here, see, I don't care if you're drinking water,
It's
come
okay.
on.
It's okay, compa. You know what? Health is number one right now.
No, and that's why we kind of wanted my dad to be on the podcast too, to kind of give a different perspective of
Of you.
Gil
Where I came
Carrillo,
from.
like someone
Yeah.
who
Detective Gil Carrillo.
Yeah, Detective Gil Carrillo. But then we got a man here
Look, you earned that. I'm sorry, but you earned
who
that.
lived down the street from you,
Yeah.
and someone who can kind of, hey, yeah, Gil was this, Gil was that,
Yeah.
kind
We
of
also lived down the street from some bad
Y
dudes.
Gil,
too.
I'm gonna say this. Que aguante para tu esposa.
What's that?
Que aguante. Que
Yeah,
aguantó
yeah.
por tantos años.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
going
yeah.
through everything you went through.
I
She's
still let
beautiful,
her live
man.
in my
She's
house for free.
No.
¿Qué más quiero que aguantar?
No.
Beautiful lady.
No,
Beautiful lady.
Gil, no. You know what?
Let me say something about my wife.
A woman.
She is
a-
the glue that has kept our marriage
Yes.
together.
I'm sure,
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Without her,
Absolutely.
we wouldn't be here today.
I know. A woman will keep a family together.
No, Pearl's always been
Yes.
his
She
wife
is-
has always been a very
Yes.
sweet lady.
She's
Yeah,
the
always.
best wife,
Yes.
the best mom, the best
Yes.
nana.
Very good energy from her.
And
Yeah, she
Nana.
is. She
Oh,
is.
with the grandkids.
Well,
She is.
shout outs to Pearl because you know what?
Yes.
Without a woman, you're not where you're at.
That's right.
You need
Shout
that,
out,
you need that rock.
shout outs to my wife.
Yes.
May she never collect on all my retirement.
You understand? Oh my God, Gil. No.
Just for an FYI, I'm remarried to a beautiful lady named
Yes.
Teresa.
Yes.
Yes.
You
As
know.
well.
And she also, your wife was also around
But-
the
Yes,
She was part- yeah.
She was part of the
Same neighborhood also.
neighborhood.
That's
She was
because
part
I-
of the neighborhood.
Because I didn't own a car.
Yeah.
You guys can this is a law enforcement. You guys can have a gang in the neighborhood. How'd that happen?
No, you can't do that.
No, you guys are just friends, and you guys are always down for
You
each
know
other. I
what?
get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys grew up together, and this is a
Yeah.
beautiful friendship of many, many years.
He used to patrol Boyer Heights, right where Tepeyac, Evergreen.
East LA.
Yeah.
East LA. And this guy named Oscar was getting married. So back in those days,
Dad, in the mic real quick. Go ahead.
you used to decorate the cars with flowers.
Oh, yeah. I remember those paper flowers.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And here comes this cop car down the hill. Boom. Hey, and I look around, all these guys. Pew.
Yeah.
Hey, compa, when is the wedding? I go, well, I'll let you know. I'll let you know when the wedding's at. Okay. Take it easy. So he turns around and goes back to the church. Turns on his siren and takes off. The guys go, who's that? I go, that's my compadre. He goes, oh man.
Yeah. Well, in the documentary, they said they called you El Cucuy.
El
Cucuy,
Cucuy.
yeah, El
They did
Cucuy.
call me the Cucuy on the streets.
Hey, you're out there doing your thing.
Yeah, you're doing your thing. El cucuy, yeah.
I was like Casper, though. I was a friendly ghost.
You're fairly.
Hey,
No, you know.
not from the outside, maybe from the inside.
Well, that's the thing, because before you became a detective, you were obviously running around in a radio car.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
But the thing is, like, you're a cool cop though, because I've seen you party
Yeah.
with us. Like, you
Yes.
hang out. You know.
he
I
stopped
just,
Don't
I
give
just
it away.
I just read something to your dad earlier today, where a guy said, "Thank you very much for the way you treated me." He was from a gang. His dad,
wow.
his brother got killed.
Right.
He was from Lotte. His dad got killed right at 3rd and Ford. And he said, "You always try to tell me stay out of gang."
Right.
He says, "Fast forward 42 years." I'm married, have 3 kids, living in Diamond Bar.
You made an impact in someone's
I want to
life.
thank
did.
you for what you gave
That's
me.
important.
Thank you. So it was important to me.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
And that's all I ever wanted to do was give back to somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
What was given to me.
So, everything you've been through, and now being a detective and being in the Night Stalker case, how did that affect your whole life?
Well, during the case, it
Yeah.
affected it. It was monumental. It was tragic. And after the documentary came out,
Mm-hmm.
I literally had to say I apologized and beg for forgiveness from my wife. During that time, my
Mm-hmm.
total focus was catching the serial killer, because
Yeah.
not only could he have hurt any one of residents
yeah.
of Los Angeles County, it impacted my family.
Absolutely.
Of
So
course.
they were gone. So the deal was, you take care of the house, you take care of the kids, I'll take care of finding the serial killer.
Yeah.
The one thing that I never put into the equation was the fear factor.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
I never realized how fearful she was until after the documentary. When I saw the documentary, I apologized to her because I never factored that in
Wow.
to the equation. I felt terrible about it. I was never in fear. I had a gun. I had partners. I knew what I was doing. I
Yeah.
knew my job, but she didn't. And I wasn't there to protect her.
Yeah.
So it was sad. Other than that, you can't dwell on the negative and on the past. You have to move
Right.
forward in life. So that's what we've done. We move forward.
Wow.
Yeah. I can imagine that's scary as a woman being a mother of kids. I mean,
Yeah.
being
Imagine
scared.
your
I'd be
significant
locking
other like out
doors.
there.
But now I
This
think
guy's out here killing everybody. and
yeah,
then the
it's
fuck?
scary. The shit that he did. I'm sorry, but the shit that he did.
He had issues. He had issues.
He had some major mother effing issues just in his brain with the things he did. It's sickening. It's sickening.
You talked to him behind bars, though. He like,
Yes.
What was he like? Okay, something that the documentary, like, I feel like I kind of wish it had a little more of is like, did you? Okay, you had to go in the jail and talk to him, though, right? Did you feel like you had a connection with him in a weird way? Like you were kind of like I don't want to say a friend, but
You probably had to
Confidant.
pretend, you
Probably a
probably had to
confidant.
pretend to be his friend.
like
to
like
get
how did
stuff
you
out.
you had a relationship with him? Like, you know,
He is nothing more. Number one,
Right.
he's nothing more than human.
right,
Right.
right,
Number two, I give a lot of credit to Dr. Robert Morneau, who was a professor of mine at Cal State LA, who taught me. I took 2 semesters of advanced criminal investigation pertaining to sex crimes. Toughest class I've ever taken. More work required than any professor, but it was the best class I ever. He gave me the knowledge to work this case, and he said what you have to have is understanding. So I have to understand why Richard did the things he did.
right,
I don't condone them.
Right.
I just understand them.
How do you understand him? Like I don't understand.
Okay,
What do you mean?
here's
Explain.
okay.
it.
I'm gonna give you a class.
Yeah, example.
Right now. I'm gonna give you a word, and the word I'm gonna give you a definition. So for purposes of your podcast and this class,
Right.
the word is sex, and the definition is whatever makes you feel good. That's
Okay.
the definition of sex. So I'm going to give you a condo in Mammoth. It's snowing outside, no cell phones, no other telephones, no children, no bill collectors, no outside abstractions, just you and that special someone you want to be with. It's flickering fireplace, soft music, hors d'oeuvres,
I want to go.
white bearskin rug.
Sorry.
It's all there.
Right.
You're both showered. You
Clean.
and that other person you want to be with.
right.
Right.
You're both out of the shower, soft music, little Cabernet Sauvignon or
Let's
a
dim
little
the
beer.
lights.
Why not tequila?
Tequila
mejor que
is
pinche
right
one.
there.
Yeah.
Right there on the table. It's just you and that special someone you want to be with.
Yeah.
Now, you understand that's going to turn into a night of raw, unadulterated sex.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Because that's easy for you to understand.
I understand
Okay,
that.
now,
Right.
I'm going to give you a man that can't afford to go to Mammoth, that doesn't have a flickering fireplace in front of him, doesn't have a bottle of tequila or Cabernet Sauvignon in his back pocket, and the only other member of society he's got with him is his own member in his own hand. And since he doesn't have a flickering fireplace, what he does have is a book of matches. And he's got that bottle of tequila right there with him. With that book of matches, he sets the hills of Malibu on fire, and he's in an act of masturbation because he's a pyromaniac. That is sex to him.
Right.
Jesus.
So you have to understand that.
Jeez, that's kind of
Do you condone him?
okay.
Do you condone his actions? Absolutely not.
No.
Yeah.
But you understand
Right,
them.
right.
That's why he did it.
Right.
So I get Richard. I don't condone anything he did.
No.
No, of course.
But I
no, no.
understand why he did little kids because he overpowered them.
Right.
And they were not a problem to him. I understand why he did raped women because they rejected him when he was younger.
Right.
I understand why he killed men because they were the obstacle to get to his lust, which was the ladies. And why didn't he kill all of them? Because those that acquiesced to his command survived.
Wow.
Wow.
I understand that. I don't condone it.
No condone it, but you
No, but you-
understand.
But
He
I
gave-
understand it.
He gave you a way to understand it because as a person watching the documentary, I'm like, what the F?
Yeah.
Like, mother effing sickness. Like, he's sick in the head. He's a devil.
Right.
He's a devil.
Just understand why he did what he did. It gives you the ability to understand it. Gives me the ability to go in there and talk to him because he's nothing more than human. Right. That's
me-
all he is. And because I did that, and I wouldn't make a face. I wouldn't say, oh, you did. Oh,
So you were straight. You were like a poker face. You were just straight.
Poker face. I just went along top. Eventually, he's calling me Gil. I'm calling him Rich.
Let me ask you.
Ask me.
Were you scared at any point in your life? Were you scared? Because I know that at one point in your documentary, you were in the car when they had him in the car.
Oh, that didn't bother me.
But
Okay,
really,
but then when you face to face with them, were you scared? Did you have any fear
No.
at all?
but
No.
really quick.
At all?
No.
I will tell you something really quick though. We talked before the podcast. I hope you don't mind me bringing
Bring it up. Bring it up.
He was telling me that there was footprints around his house.
Yeah.
That didn't
Your
scare you?
house?
That didn't
Wait,
scare
wait, wait,
you?
in your house?
Yes.
That didn't scare
What?
you.
No.
Are you?
We brought cops in to give me 24-hour surveillance.
Okay.
So, when
You were
I
not scared. I'm sorry. I'm gonna
No.
go. I'm gonna ask you. I have to ask you again.
Go ahead.
I have to ask because this was big
No.
everywhere,
We were
all
all
over.
scared.
We were
Fuck.
from South County to LA County.
still scared. The guy's
You
dead.
were not scared.
No.
He had a quit there.
There was a
There's reasons I wasn't scared. When I came back and I saw some footprints, they weren't the Avia. We later find out because he had already thrown the Avia due to Mayor Feinstein broadcasting, who is now retiring. But at that time, she was a mayor of San Francisco. Said she put all this evidence shit on in a press conference, so we threw him over the Golden Gate Bridge. We lost him. The only time I was frightened for a millisecond, and when I say a millisecond, I mean that, a millisecond, not even a full second. I am talking to Richard, and I'm playing with his anxiety level. I'm good at what I do.
Right. Obviously.
I'm taking it up and I'm bringing it down. I want to find out where I can go with him to ask him questions to stay with me. So I've got him. I'm taking his anxiety level way high, and I'm talking about his family, his sister, his dad.
Did he have kids?
Did Richard have kids? No.
Okay, good.
And so I'm talking about it, and he's put his head on the table, and now his fists are tightening up. I can see them on the table. His head's on the table, his fists are on the table, and he almost to the point of hyperventilation, he starts going, and it's getting relatively solid in there. Now, for a millisecond, I'm sitting there saying, if this motherfucker starts levitating, I'm out of here. I can't. I've been stabbed. I've been shot at, but I
Have
can't.
you?
Yes, I have.
Oh, we'll talk about that next.
But I can't fight somebody that is floating around a room.
Yeah. No.
I'm out of here. If he starts levitating, I'm out of here. And I immediately said, Rich, how about a break? You want a break?
Yeah.
And he was, yeah. Are you
Just the
hungry?
fact-
What was he?
Just the fact that he offered. I mean, he said, "Okay, I'll talk to you."
Yeah. But was he like? Do you think he was in your mind? Was he the most evil man you've ever met, or no? Or is it eviler? Like that's pretty fucking evil. Like
I don't know.
You've met
This-
a lot of. I'm sure you've met a lot of.
This
people,
word evil is kind of
or just more screwed up in the head, or
subjective. What is evil?
Schizophrenic, or-
When I went into one of the biggest, I've spoken all over the U.S.
right?
And one of the biggest questions has been, were you afraid when you went in, or were you concerned when you
Yeah,
went
like
in there?
I asked you, were you
And-
afraid?
Right.
And when I went into the room, I said absolutely not.
Were you in like a room like this and just on a table with him?
Yes.
Jeez.
Did you have
Yes.
security outside?
Oh yeah.
Were you not scared?
But what is
There
he
was
gonna do
about
in jail?
200
though?
cops outside killing his ass.
Oh,
when he
wait.
gets
How old
out.
were you? I have to ask how old you were.
At that time, I was probably in 1985.
Yeah.
So let's figure it out.
Like 30 years old?
No, I was older than that. I was about 34.
So
34.
no fear at all, Gil.
No.
I think you were the youngest homicide.
When I went
know,
to
you were the-
homicide, I was the youngest
You were
guy.
the youngest detective
For the first 7
Yes.
years, they called me the kid.
Yes.
But when I went in the room, if you stop and think about Tom Brady,
right.
Tom Brady's just an everyday guy. Has a family, goes home to his family.
I
goes
would have
out-
shit in my pants. I would have shit my pants if I had to be in there.
If you'd have been around Tom Brady,
No, if I would have been in there. Me vale madre, pinche Tom Brady. I mean, I'm talking about.
okay.
You
so
know,
now
the
you
Night
think
Stalker.
about Tom Brady. Tom Brady just an everyday man.
Yeah.
He goes home with his wife and his kids. Once in a while, he goes out to the bar with his buddies. He works out every day. He's just an everyday guy.
Yeah.
But come Sunday, it's game day.
It's game day, yeah.
Right.
Now all of a sudden he puts on those pads and he doesn't think about anything else about what's going on that football field that day.
Yes.
When the first time I went to speak to Richard, today is game day.
Yes.
I don't care about anything else other than my job and what I have to do and how I have to approach this. I'm not thinking devil. I'm not thinking evil. I'm not thinking badass. I'm not thinking he's going to jump on me. I'm thinking, what do I have to do to be a pro?
What was the first thing you asked him? Do you remember? Was the first thing you said hello to him, or what did you say? I want to know what's the first thing you asked him.
I said hello to him. That would be the first thing I said.
No, yeah, but what was the first thing you asked him?
I didn't ask him anything. It was my partner, Frank Salerno, immediately, he had more tenure than I did. He was more experienced than I did. First thing he did was, hey, Rich, he wants to keep everything legal. He said, I want to advise your constitutional rights. Well, once he started that, then that's it. He started and Richard said, I want an attorney. Okay, well, that's it. Right. Shut us down. And so he said, okay, well, then that's it. You don't want to talk to us? You got an attorney? We'll leave. And then he said, well, wait a minute. I want to know what's going to go on with the case. Well, you already said you wanted to. No, well, can you tell me anything that's going on with the case? Then he and I started talking. But we didn't talk. And when we talked at that time, we talked about Night Stalker in the third person. So he'd say, I don't know, the Night Stalker may have done this, he might have done this. He never talked in his own person.
In his own person.
Yeah, and so none of that stuff could have been used.
Right?
None of that stuff, no, very smart. Not sicko, very smart.
I'll call it sicko.
And so none of that stuff could have been used as a Miranda rights read could be used against him in a court of law. So, however, now we go to preliminary.
He was a smart guy, I guess.
Now we go to preliminary hearing. The only one that wasn't smart was the Judge Smith, that was at our preliminary hearing, because once he heard we talked to him after he requested an attorney, he said he thought it was the biggest violation of Miranda that he had ever seen in his career.
Wow.
And I'm sitting there saying, I didn't go to law school, but you're full of shit. And I didn't tell the judge that, but I knew it because what Richard told us could not be used against him in a court of law in the case in chief, which means against him right away. But if Richard would have taken a stand eventually in a trial, everything he told us in that day could have been used as rebuttal. We could have used it against him.
Right.
The judge didn't think about that. But we never, everything he told us that day, none of it was used in the case.
Wow.
They ended up giving him the death penalty, right?
Mm-hmm. But he died on his own, though.
He died on his own for kidney failure, right?
Yes, God bless him.
Yeah, God bless him. Well, I don't think God bless him, but whatever.
I mean,
it saved us an awful lot of appeals.
Yes.
Saved us
God's
an awful lot of court
that's
trial.
him for him to judge.
Hey, I did my good.
Yeah. But you know what, Gil? I gotta say, we thank you for all the services you did being a detective, and you literally solved probably one of the world's craziest fucking
crimes,
and you
that was scary because he came from South County to L.A. How do you? That's big.
Well, no, he went from L.A. County to South.
So bounced back and forth. He bounced back and
let's
forth.
make one thing perfectly clear.
Yes.
Gil Carrillo did not solve this case.
Right.
It was a team that solved the case.
No, I understand, but
to include my partner,
you're part of it.
All the investigators involved, and the residents that called in and helped us out.
You are part of the badass team, is what I'm saying. There we go.
You're
I'll take the
special
badass team.
detective, part of the Night Stalker team.
Yes, I am.
And we are so honored to have you on our podcast. And
Thank
you're
you.
speaking with us, right?
And I think we need a part 2, though. What do you think?
We will be back for part 2.
Yeah.
I'm here, part 2.
We're very excited.
Because we want to know
I'm excited. I don't even have to go to the toilet yet.
Because we want to know life after
yes,
the documentary and all that. So, but thank you
Sounds
so
good.
much, and stay tuned for part 2.
Yes,
and
part
Dad,
2.
thank you for coming on.
Thank
My
you, Pops,
pleasure.
for coming on.
Yeah.
Something.
Yes.
Compa.
You know what I'm saying?
I love you,
Yes.
man.
I
Two
love
friends
this
that
man.
We love both of you guys.
I love this man.
Aww. Yeah.
Me too.
Thanks, Pops, for coming on.
Thank you
Appreciate
very
it. So stay
much.
tuned for part 2.
Yes, stay tuned for part 2. Thank you, everybody, for
Gil
joining
Carrillo.
us.